Hey there, you ever look at an old map and feel like you're staring at some kind of secret code? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're not just going to look at maps, we're going to learn how to read them. We're going to unlock their language so you can see all the amazing stories hidden right there in plain sight.
Okay, let's just get this out of the way. I know what you're thinking. You've got a GPS in your car, on your phone, a supercomputer in your pocket that tells you turn by turn where to go. So why on earth would anyone bother learning to read a paper map? It's a totally fair question, and the answer, well, that's what makes this so cool.
It's because a map is so much more than just a tool to get you from point A to point B. Think of it more like a snapshot of a place at a specific moment in time, absolutely packed with information and history. It's a story, really. And once you learn the language, you can read every single word. So just like any language, you've got to learn the grammar first, right? The basic rules. For maps, that all starts with two really fundamental ideas: direction and scale. Let's dive in. All right, first up, direction. This is a big one. It's completely essential because it's the thing that connects that piece of paper in your hands to the actual ground you're standing on. It tells you which way is up. It's the first step to getting oriented. And you'll usually see it as a compass rose or just a simple arrow pointing north.
But what happens if you're looking at a map and you can't find that compass rose or that little arrow? What do you do then? Well, here's a great little pro tip to remember. By convention, the top edge of the map is always considered to be north. Simple as that. It's a handy rule that can save you a lot of headaches.
Okay, next up is scale. And this is where the magic really happens. I mean, you can't draw the world at its actual size, right? You'd need a piece of paper the size of, well, the world. Scale is the brilliant solution that shrinks everything down to fit on the page. It's a simple ratio that tells you exactly how much smaller the map is than the real thing.
So you'll often see scale written out as a ratio, just like this, 1 to 50,000. Now, this specific number, this is the actual scale for the official topographic map of Sri Lanka. It might look a little abstract, but this is the key that lets us translate the map back into our world. So what does that ratio actually mean in the real world? It means that for every 1 centimeter you measure with a ruler on that map, that represents 50,000 centimeters, or, to make it way easier, 500 meters out on the actual ground. Think about that for a second. That's the power of scale. It literally allows you to hold an entire country, an entire landscape, right in your hands. Okay, so we've got the grammar down, we understand direction and scale. Now it's time to learn the words, the vocabulary of the map. And for that, we need to look at what's called the key. Just like direction, the key is absolutely essential. You could call it the Maps Dictionary, or maybe it's Rosetta Stone. It's what translates all those little lines, dots, and tiny pictures into real-world things we recognize, like roads, rivers, and buildings. Without the key, you're pretty much just looking at abstract art. Let's take a look. See this little airplane symbol? The key tells us, yep, that marks an airport. This little anchor, that's going to be a harbor. And this cute little elephant, you guessed it, that shows you where a wildlife park is. It's amazing how much information you can pack into one tiny, simple symbol. All right, so now we can read the symbols. But what if you're looking for something specific, like a certain city or town? You don't want to spend all day scanning the whole map, right? Of course not. That's where our next tool comes in handy, the index. You can think of it as the map's own personal address book. So the index is usually in the back of a map book, and it's basically just a big A to Z list of all the named places on that map. And right next to each name, you'll see a grid reference, usually a letter and a number. It's kind of like playing a game of Battleship, but for finding real places. And using it could not be simpler, seriously. First, find the place you're looking for in the alphabetical list. Next, just grab that grid reference. Let's say it's C4. Then you go to the map itself, run one finger down from the letter C at the top, and another finger across from the number 4 on the side. And boom, the square where your fingers meet is exactly where you need to look. Okay, this is really cool. We've learned the grammar, we've learned the vocabulary, and we even know how to use the map's address book. The final step in really mastering this language is to go from just being a reader to being a creator. Let's talk about how you can actually copy a map yourself.
And you don't need any high-tech gear for this at all. All you really need is the map you want to copy, some transparent paper, tissue paper works great, a good old-fashioned pencil, and maybe a few paper clips to keep everything from sliding around.
So here's how it works. It's a simple tracing method.
First, you lay your tissue paper over the map and clip it down so it's secure. Then, you just carefully trace a main feature, like the coastline or a country's border. After that, you lift the tissue paper and move it over to a blank sheet. And here's the cool part. As you draw over your lines again, the pencil on the back transfers a faint outline onto the new page. Pretty neat, huh?
And just like that, you've done something pretty amazing. You've done more than just understand the map. You've recreated it. This simple act really connects you to the shape and the form of the landscape. You've officially gone from being a reader of the story to one of its authors.
So there you have it. You now have the keys. You have the tools to unlock this secret language that's been hiding in plain sight all along. The only question left is, now that you know how to listen, what stories will the maps all around you start to tell?